much. Welcome to Tell the Truth, which may not be the greatest experience in your life, but it's better than a poke in the eye with a sharp stick. You'll have to agree. Our first guest today had something incredible. He was just sitting in his living room, and he had a most unwelcome guest drop in. We'll learn more about the story after we've met our panel here on To Tell the Truth.
Larry Blyden. Peggy Cass. Bill Clovis. And Washington News correspondent Nancy Dickerson.
And we are in your tuxedo, Nancy.
Well, I knew where I was coming tonight.
Had I known, I would have worn my spats. Heavens. How nice.
Tomorrow.
By way of introducing our first guest, I would like you to take a look at a scary picture indeed. Now, this is a picture of a recent plane wreck right here in New York. This is a DC-3. It's turned upside down. This, you no doubt recognize as a house. That is a plane and that is a house. Very good. All right. Now, how would you like to have a plane crash in your front yard and smash right into your house? Well, that's what happened to our first guest, and let us meet him now.
Number one, what is your name, please?
My name is Ivan Figueroa.
Number two.
My name is Ivan Figueroa.
Number three.
My name is Ivan Figueroa.
Okay. One of these gentlemen is telling the truth. He is really Ivan Figueroa. Here is Ivan's story. I, Ivan Figueroa, consider myself a very lucky man. And here's why. One evening, I had just returned home from work. Suddenly, I was stunned by a noise that sounded like a bomb exploding. The next thing I knew, the bay window in my living room was shattered by the arrival of a large twin-engine airplane. The DC-3 not only landed in my front yard, but actually wound up leaning against my house. The plane had hit both a telephone pole and a parked car before it flipped over onto my front steps. This probably slowed up the plane's momentum sufficiently to save both my house and my life. I guess this is one of the risks I run for having a house practically next door to runway number 4 at New York City's LaGuardia Airport. Signed, Ivan Figueroa. Well, that's something. Just think if that plane had been going a little faster, your whole house might have been hijacked to Cuba. We'll be back in a couple of seconds after a few words here. Now, the puzzle is that each of these gentlemen claim to be Ivan Figueroa, survivor of a plane crash in his very own house. Let's start the questioning with Nancy Dickerson, please.
Number 3, do you still live there?
No. I really haven't been able to go back.
Number 2, when did you move out?
I haven't moved out.
Number 1, how long have you lived in that house?
3 years.
How long have you lived in the United States?
7.
Number 2, was the pilot killed?
No.
Number 3, was there a fire?
Well, the plane was on fire, certainly, when it hit the house.
How come your house didn't then get on fire?
Well, parts of it were, but the thing is that the firemen came almost immediately.
Number 2, did the neighbors call the firemen?
I believe so.
Number 1, what did the neighbors do?
They called the fireman.
And then did the neighbors... Number 1, did the neighbors come over and get you out of the house?
No, I did myself.
Number 1, do you live alone?
No, I
His answer was no, and he was going to add to it, but the buzzer buzzed, and we go to Larry Blyden.
Number 1, do you own the house?
Yes, I do.
Number 3, do you own the house?
No, I live with my parents.
I see. Number 2, do you own the house?
No, I don't.
Okay. Number 4, doesn't it... You guys are out. Number 2, doesn't it drive you bananas living right next to a runway?
Not really. I'm used to it.
Really? Number 3, has it done anything to your hearing? With all those things coming in?
Not really.
Okay. Number 1, don't the planes coming in keep you awake at all?
No, because I'm used to now.
How long did it take you to get used to it, number 1?
A couple of years.
Okay, number 3, what is left of your house now?
Left of my house?
Yeah, when
There's
it
another
gets-
house.
Huh?
I don't think he quite understood the question, Larry.
No,
Oh, but I did. The house is in good condition
the
now.
house is in good condition. Number 2, when...
I don't know. Number 3, you're funny. What's left of your house is another house.
Another...
Sure. Let's go to Peggy.
Number 2, how much does the plane weigh?
Oh, gee, I don't know.
Number 1, what section of New York do you live in?
Excuse me?
What section of New York do you live in?
Jackson Heights.
Thank you. And number 3, were you alone in the house at the time?
No, my father was with me.
Thank you. Now, number 2, was somebody going to pay for all that damage?
I'm sure they will. I guess the company, the airport company.
Thank you. Now, number 1, did that plane signal that it was going to crash before?
No, we didn't know anything about it.
Oh, I don't mean that they phoned you.
Fellow running out in the plane, in front of the plane, shouting, "Look out!"
No, but the thing is, I mean, did he signal to the airport that he was in trouble? Is that why the fire engines were there so soon?
Yeah, but we didn't know anything about it. We're just inside the house. We hear the noise, and that was it.
Now, number 2,
And that takes us, please, to Bill Cullen.
Oh, we're treating this too lightly. It could have been tragic. Fortunately, it was not tragic. Now, when it happened, when it occurred, it's a DC-3. It is not a regular carrier per se. I, being an old aviation buff, said to my wife, DC-3, I'd love to know who owned that airplane, because somewhere along the line, they have broken the law. Number 3, who does own the airplane? Do you?
I believe it was the FAA who was having a trial run from Philadelphia.
And who makes the laws by which airplanes must abide when they're approaching an airport number 2, sir, if you would? I mean, basically, where do those laws come from?
Well, I think it comes from the Port Authority and the...
No, that's the airport itself. But
Oh,
the
is
air...
that port?
Yes, number 1, would you know who does that?
They have federal law?
Yeah, that controls all approaches to airports and things like that. I just want to see if they know. Well, anyway, to answer it, number 3, it is the same FAA who owns the airplane, who is responsible for keeping other... Have they been determined yet? Oh,
Gee, we
dear.
enjoyed that, Bill. That was fun.
Little rap at the FAA. They're doing it to me, too. And I'm going to say a few words about the FCC.
Well, first you're going to have to mark a ballot. And you're going to have it to mark it between number 1 or number 2 or number 3. It's going to cost you $50 for each wrong guess. It's going to cost them $500 if all the guesses are wrong. And Nancy Dickerson, who has been batting 1,000 so far, has to go first on this round.
Well, I thought I saw some inconsistencies in number 2 and in number 3, so I'm going to vote for number 1.
Okay, there goes a 1 for 1, and a Larry Blyden is about to express himself.
I am disqualifying myself.
Why?
Because I think I know who it is. I think I saw the gentleman on television, and he was wearing a kind of a furry hat, which threw me for a moment. But what he was that night was just a very grateful basket case. And today he seems rather self-possessed, and I was thrown for one, but I think I know who it is, and so I'm disqualifying myself.
Okay, so a disqualification, of course, counts for a wrong vote. Thank you, Larry, and let's go to Peggy.
well, Larry has a very bad television set. It gets terrible reception. And our number 3 has quite a lot of hair, and he thought that was the furry hat. So I voted for 3.
It was actually Yul Brynner, and he got rotten reception. So we've got a 1, a disqualification, and a 3. And Bill Cullen, what are you going to do?
All right, in all honesty, and I hadn't thought of this because until Larry mentioned it, I am very interested in anything that has to do with aviation.
Mm-hmm.
And I watched everything that was on the air about it, and I think, anyway, let me not show you my card. Let me just disqualify myself.
Just disqualify yourself,
Yeah, I'm
but
sure
not show the card?
Right, because if I'm wrong, then we'll spoil the fellow standing up in the big reveal to which we aspire on shows of this kind. Unless you want me to show the card.
Very well, William. All right, so it's going to count for a wrong vote, nevertheless.
Yes, wrong.
So we've got 2 wrong votes before we do anything, and let's find out if the real Ivan Figueroa will please stand up. Bill Cullen, turn your card around. Bill Cullen had him right, 2 on a disqualification, but he got $500 because he stumped the panel completely. Good job, gentlemen. Number 1, what is your real name, please, and what do you do?
My name is Jack Palacio. I'm the owner of the restaurant La Paella in 136th Street on Broadway. and New York City.
Very good. And number 3, you got one wrong vote. What is your real name, please, and what do you do?
Oh, my name is Alex Abella, and I'm a junior at Columbia University.
Ah. Well, Nancy.
Do you know if he's moved out or not?
No,
Really?
I haven't.
You haven't. You
no.
still live there.
We
Well,
still
I
live there.
understand that you and your uncle were home when the crash occurred, but your aunt was away. Is that right?
Yes.
How did your aunt hear about this?
We called her up that same night, and she was rather taken aback about it, and she wanted to come back. I said, no, stay there. We'll take care of everything. And, well, we stayed at home. First night we did not stay, but the other nights we did.
Yeah.
They're fixing everything up. They've been very good, very cooperative. It's been,
Well, if I were you, I would take the top floor off my house and just play it safe
Indeed.
from there on in.
Indeed.
And thank you, gentlemen, all, for being here with us on Tell the Truth.
Thank you.
And Larry, you were right, were you? You
Yeah.
did recognize the right fella.
Yeah.
I assume that you did. Now, let us go for I suppose generic term is the phrase I'm looking for here. What is the term for this general kind of magazine?
Pulp.
Pulps is right. Things like Spicy Detective, Weird Tales.
Bill Boyd and his Battle Aces.
Yeah, the true life story of Goodson Todman.
Yeah,
Weird.
oh, that was good.
Weird. All right, our next guest knows all about pulps, and we'll meet him in a moment as soon as we take a look at a few spicy tales of our own. And now let's meet the man who knows all about pulps.
Number 1, what is your name, please?
My name is Tony Goodhart.
Number 2.
My name is Tony Goodhart.
Number 3.
My name is Tony Goodhart.
Well, now we got a problem, friend. Everybody take one step back, close the curtain, and we're going to start all over again. Everybody take one step back. Well, you'll figure out what happened. Let's close the curtain. All right. Now, you ready to pull it up again? Let's meet the man who knows all about pulps.
Number 1, what is your name, please?
My name is Tony Goodstone.
Number 2.
My name is Tony Goodstone.
Number 3.
My name is Tony Goodstone.
Can you imagine 3 guys that don't even know what their name is? Any one of the 3 of them? All right, here is Tony Goodstone's story. I, Tony Goodstone, am an authority on pulp magazines. In the period from 1896 to 1953, countless hundreds of magazines thrilled their readers with lurid and fantastic tales whose setting was solely in the far-flung corners of the imagination. They covered every range of subject: science fiction, detective stories, westerns, the supernatural, horror, war, the superhero, and sex. I have compiled and edited material from these magazines into a book titled The Pulps. It contains over 50 complete stories, poems, and features, as well as 100 color covers of the magazines themselves. Here is Argosy, founded in the year 1896, and the famous Shadow. A 1912 all-story magazine featured Tarzan. And, of course, for years, Doc Savage was a big favorite. Daredevil Aces and Spicy Detective were 2 other popular pulps, as were Dime Western and Amazing Stories. The cover of Amazing Stories looks like a cover of today, but it's actually an issue from 1929. Unquestionably, the pulps contain some of the best adventure fiction ever written in America, and a lot of the worst, too. But best or worst, the pulps appeal to such diverse personalities as gangster Al Capone and former President Harry S. Truman. Signed, Tony Goodstone. And let's start the questioning with Peggy Cass,
Thank
please.
you. Number 2, could you tell me some of the poets that were published in your magazine, in your anthology?
H.P. Lovecraft, Richard Le Gallienne.
Oh, but number 3, In which magazine would Lovecraft have appeared?
Love stories.
Love Stories. Lovecraft would have been in Love Stories. Okay. Number one. Were all pulp magazines 10 cents?
No, some were 5 cents.
Oh. Were any more?
Some were 15, but most of them were 10.
Was number 3, was Spicy Detective really like, I mean, that was pretty pale compared to what's on the stands today, I take it.
Well, yes, the pictures were a little bit more interesting, but the stories stopped at the kiss.
Well, they stopped at the kiss.
And from Peggy, we go to Bill Cullen.
You know,
Yes.
we used to get Spicy Detectives surreptitiously when we were younger. My wife and I. No, when I was a kid. and we used to sneak them in places, like upstairs and under the cover. And now, as you said, they're nothing. They are nothing compared. But let's get number 2 to Bill Boyd and his Battle Aces. What branch of the service number 2 was Bill Boyd in? He was a whiz-bang, not the cowboy.
Bill Boyd?
Maybe that wasn't his name. I'm very bad at names.
He's very bad at names, too.
Someone
Whoever
over
that
there is pretty bad at names. Is like, actually, what were some of the... No. Number 3, does the name Bill Boyd and his Battle Aces mean anything to you?
I think you have the wrong name, but I think you're talking about the air aces, the daredevils during the World War I.
Hey, speaking of wrong name, number 1.
Bill, we're going to go from you to Nancy Dickerson.
I sure am.
Number 2, did you have any trouble with copyrights getting this all these compiled into one book?
Well, it was a lengthy procedure.
Number 3, did you run into any difficulty, though? Would people not allow you to use the pulps?
Oh, yes, there's always that possibility.
What possibility? What
That
one?
people do not want to relinquish their rights to the books that you want to use.
What, did you have such a problem?
Yes,
With which one?
I can't tell you.
Number 2, when was the book published?
The book was published November 24th.
How's it selling, number 3?
Very well. We're very pleased.
Thank you, Nancy. Let's go to Larry Blyden.
Number 1, I used to get thrown out of the drugstore for hanging around and reading Spicy Detective. Will you tell him to stop that? Okay, number 1, does pulp have to have a story?
Yes.
Okay,
Some of it was very poor writing, but there was also some very good writing.
Okay, number 3, did Mark Twain ever write for pulp?
No, you're thinking of another era.
I am? Okay, then speaking of eras, when was Captain Billy's Whiz Bang? When was that? During what period? Number 3.
Oh, that's in the 1900s.
Okay, and number 1, what was the period of Spicy Detective? When did that start?
That was the late 20s, early 30s.
Yeah, I know when it ended, sadly enough. I just wondered how long it had been going on.
Well, thank you, Larry. If you were sitting over here on the panel, you'd have to vote. And you'd have to vote for number 1, or for number 2, or for number 3. We pay $50 for each wrong vote, $500 if none of the votes is correct, and Peggy Cass starts.
Well, I know you're all going to think I'm crazy.
Oh,
But
yeah.
that fellow should have known his own name. But isn't Lovecraft a spooky writer? It seems to me that I've read Lovecraft, and he wasn't a poet. He was a spooky writer, and he wouldn't have been in a Western. So I voted for number 1.
You voted for number 1? Very well. Let's go to Bill Cullen.
Well, could number 1 possibly have come out and told us his wrong name, if he was the real one?
I don't. He might have forgotten us. You could forget
Well,
your name.
I think a vote for number 1 is ill-advised.
Oh, he voted for number 1 too.
You both voted for number 1?
Yes.
Nancy Dickerson, is there hope?
How straight is this? This is number 3.
Oh, that's good. You got to vote for number 3. Larry Blyden, what are you going to do?
Well, what does Nancy know? She's new around here.
You mean number 1 comes out first and says the wrong name and he gets 3 votes?
Lovecraft is a spooky writer.
Nerves does funny things to people sometimes. I called you Bill Monday.
I know you did, Alice, but that's no excuse. Will the real Tony Goodstone please stand up? Hey! Unbelievable! Absolutely unbelievable. Congratulations, Tony. You got lucky, my friend. $500 for all of you. Number 1, you got, in spite of everything, he got 3 wrong votes. What is your real name and what do you do?
My name is Dr. Vincent Linder.
Dr. Leonard, how many times have you been on this show yourself?
3 times.
3 times, once as yourself and another time as an imposter, right?
I've been a liar 3 times.
It's been 3 times an imposter and nobody recognized him.
He's not learning.
Number 3, who got 1 wrong vote, sir. How many times have you been on this show?
5.
Holy
He's been on
mackerel.
the show 5 times as an imposter and still unrecognized. And Tony, you yourself, the real Tony, who really wrote the book, how many times have you been on the show?
3.
3 times.
Boy, are we dumb.
Boy.
Formally, this is Dum Dum Day.
Yeah.
Well, Tony Goodhart, it's been a... Oh, number 3, we didn't ask you your name, sir. I'm terribly sorry.
Thank you very much.
Right, and what else do you do?
My name is Christopher Darrow, and I'm still the national brand manager for Dubonnet Wine.
That's a good job. And my name is Steve Allen, and I want to thank you all very much for being here with us on To Tell the Truth. Thank you, gentlemen. Hey, this has been, we're going to try again tomorrow no matter what, and we hope that you'll come back and give us another whirl at it. Take care now.
In addition to the cash awards, our central characters today will receive suddenly a carousel wig in the Warren Smooth, Tozzle, Flipco, and special occasion curls, another easy care monocrylic wig from Carousel. Transportation and other considerations provided by Chevrolet, featuring the 1971 Chevelle, America's most popular midsize car, new bumpers and grills, same solid, dependable performance at a Chevrolet price. Prizes or product mentions were furnished and or paid for by the manufacturers or supplier of the products or services identified on this program. This is Johnny Olson speaking for To Tell the Truth, a Mark Goodson, Bill Cotton production.
Now, stay tuned for What's My Line with Larry Blyden next on Game Show Network, America's favorite place to watch, play, and win.
Dating Game with